You're watching AAN News and I'm Ingrid Yanara. When talking about reuniting North and South Koreas, people may see light at the end of the tunnel, or in this case, on the other side of the border. What you're seeing is a historic moment for Koreans, the first train to cross the border of North and South Korea in more than 50 years. The agreement allows trains to cross the tightly sealed border since the tracks were cut off in the middle of the Korean War. As previously reported, this historic milestone is not only a sign of improving relations between the North and South, it's also good news for the economy. South Korea hopes the inter-Korean railways could eventually be linked to Russia's Trans-Siberian Railroad. Another exciting news for Korean Americans, Mayor Richard Daley adopted the city of Busan in South Korea as Chicago's 27th sister city. This means Chicago and Busan will work closely to help each other grow culturally and financially. Hundreds of Chicagoans from the Korean community showed up to the ceremony held on May 7th. A signature, a handshake, and now Busan and Chicago are two cities committed to each other. A delegation of 28 from Busan came to Chicago, including Busan's Mayor Hun Nam-sik, the City Council, and Ambassador. Both mayors expressed their commitment in international education for the next generation to compete in a global economy.
Well, first of all, it's going to be a business exchanges, education, cultural exchanges, and people to people, which is really important, not only for the Korean community, but for all Chicago.
Chicago will form a committee of citizen volunteers to bring in projects and funding for exchanges between the two cities. Around 500 people attended the ceremony held at the Chicago Cultural Center downtown. Meat lovers, beware! According to the USDA, a Michigan meat company is recalling more than 100,000 pounds of beef products because of possible E. coli contamination. The meat products come from Davis Creek Meats and were made for Gordon Food Service stores. The beef products were produced between March 1st and April 30th, distributed to 15 different states, including Illinois. The Michigan Health Department discovered the problem as part of an E. coli illness investigation. The items under recall includes boxes of mechanically tenderized steaks and ground beef of different weights. Health officials have been calling grocery stores, making sure they are aware of the recall, but there is no way to reach all the consumers who have the meat in their homes. Symptoms of E. coli include stomach cramps and diarrhea that may turn bloody within 1 to 3 days. E. coli can lead to complications, including kidney failure. However, there has been no report of people becoming sick from the recalled meat. For more information on this, email us at aan41chicago@aol.com. Warmer weather and sunnier skies are finally hitting Chicago, but so are higher gas prices. Our Elaine Lowe talks to a few local commuters for their takes on gas prices.
With gas prices reaching record highs in Chicago and summer driving season just around the corner, it doesn't seem like prices are going down anytime soon. And more drivers are opting to keep their cars at home in favor of other modes of transportation.
It's getting pretty outrageous. The price is coming up at the end of this summer. It's going to be like $4. And I don't think people have enough money to pay for that.
Cabbies are also feeling the pinch at the pump and are starting to stay away from heavy traffic areas like the Loop that consume both time and gas.
We don't want to go around the downtown now. Like we stay at hotels, we turn the engine off and we stay there as soon as we get the customer. We don't go like that. We have to roam around to have the customer. That we have to stop now.
Some members of the Chicago Professional Taxi Drivers Association have even threatened to strike if the city doesn't grant them a fare increase or surcharge for rising gas prices.
Whether you get the customer or not, you had to pay like, last year we had to pay like $22 gas, now it's like around $40.
Most Chicago drivers are just plain frustrated.
I think the city could do a great deal of service to its citizens or its patrons by perhaps temporarily lowering it, whereby we'd be a little bit closer to the national average.
With AAN News, Elaine Lowe.
Filipinos in Chicago may be thousands of miles away from their homeland, but distance is no barrier when it comes to exercising their right as citizens of Philippines. Don Tagala was at the Philippine Consulate with coverage of the Filipino overseas absentee voting.
It was a long night for consulate staff in Chicago, but this all-nighter was worth it. The Midwest voter turnout increased by 9% compared to the 2004 elections. Even until the last hour, a couple of voters came to cast their votes. Airline employee Butch Ramos made it in time before the polls closed at 2 a.m.
Medyo last na tayo kasi galing pa ako ng Miami to visit my daughters. And nakatulog ng konti. Siguro nakaabot pa rin.
IT specialist Lito Santiano had to run some errands before heading to the consulate to vote.
Well, at least kahit malayo, so far, na-exercise natin yung ways natin to vote. So, nagpapasalamat kami sa consulate.
According to Consul Patrick Hilado, the ability to send ballots by mail increased this year's turnout. As for the return to senders ballots, they went out of their way to look for the voter's new address through phone calls, internet searches, or by email. More than 50% came back filled out. Despite the generally low turnout of absentee voters worldwide, the Chicago Consulate, together with the help of Midwest Pinoy community, turned in more voters this year. A glimmer of hope for those who wish voting in absentia be continued in the coming years. The Philippine Consulate's counting of absentee votes lasted for 7 hours. Final results showed senatorial candidates, mostly from the genuine opposition, won the Midwest elections. It was an unexpected political turnover that sent a clear message to the current Philippine president. Filipino people want change, a change that may be echoed in the 2008 Philippine presidential elections. Don Tagala, AAN News.
In Japan, a 17-year-old boy is arrested after confessing to police he beheaded his mother. Last Tuesday, the boy calmly walked into a Japanese police station with his mother's severed head. He told police he killed his mother on the eve of her 47th birthday while she was sleeping. This marks the latest in a series of murders around a country known for its low crime rate. In January, a woman confessed to beating her husband to death with a wine bottle before cutting up the corpse and leaving parts of the body all over Tokyo. According to experts, cases of dismemberment are on the rise, a quote, horrifying trend blamed on Japan's economic slump over the past decade. In light of the recent shootings that involve teenagers and gang violence, a Chicago police officer joins the mayor in calling for stricter gun control. Last week, a high school student in Hyde Park was killed. A few days later, another student was shot to death in the South Side while riding a CTA bus home from school. Officer Albert Choi of the 9th District says enough is enough.
What would the audience gun do in the street? Why did a 15-year-old have a gun on the street? A high-power, handgun in the street.
In the weekly community meeting, Officer Albert Choi took center stage in addressing this problem.
Do you think Virginia is far away? Just say things happen in China, things happen in India. It's nothing to do with me. But now it happens so close. It happened in Chicago. 5 students get shot and 1 died in the bus. They just doing the regular thing. They're going to school, they do the regular routine and they got shot.
The gun used in that shooting is similar to this handgun that Officer Choi says is often smuggled into the state and sold to gangbangers, many of them just in their teens.
Buying gun just like buying a piece of candy in this area.
Last week, a young man got onto a CTA bus on Chicago's South Side and opened fire at passengers. Police said they did not believe it was a random shooting and were reviewing footage from a camera inside the bus.
When you see the tape on the bus, it seems like a short time, but when you click you empty out your gun, it takes a while to do that. He was shooting for a good long period of time until the slide back. You can see it clear in the video. So what did a 15 years old and 16 years old have a handgun like this?
This year alone, 27 students have been killed, 20 of them shot to death. That amounts to 1 life cut short every 10 days.
When we come back, find out who's watching behind your back. The governor wants all of Illinois insured. And stay tuned, Elaine Lowe has the first all-night fiesta in town covered for you. All up next on AAN. If you drive on the road a lot, careful, you might be on candid camera. Except you won't get a laugh out of this one. The Chicago Office of Emergency Management and Communications are targeting reckless drivers on some of Chicago's busiest roads. You may be in a hurry, but whatever you do, don't run the red signals or you may get caught in the act. The Office of Emergency Management and Communications, also known as OEMC, installed these candid cameras on some of Chicago's busiest and accident-prone intersections.
The camera systems that you see behind me have been very effective at reducing accidents in many cities around the nation, and we've seen them to do the same thing here in Chicago. By preventing people from running red lights, we make the intersection safer for other motorists and for other pedestrians.
Each year, more than 800 people are killed and more than 200,000 injured in crashes that involve red light running. So these cameras are designed to prevent just that. Digital cameras are tied into the traffic signal system and sensors beneath the pavement. When the light turns red, the camera takes still and video pictures like this one of a vehicle that passes over the sensor and runs a red light.
We do issue, I think, in the neighborhood of 300,000 tickets per year, and about 90, that's out of, and the prosecution rate is about 96%.
96% means it's hard to challenge your ticket in traffic court, unless you blew a red signal because you were part of a funeral procession. There will be 39 intersections around Chicago with these cameras, and they not only take pictures of drivers who run a red light. In addition to sending pictures of you in your car, you'll get a $90 fine if your car didn't make a complete stop before making a right turn.
Even under a right turn on red, you're supposed to come to a complete stop. If you do that, you'll be fine. If you choose not to do that, then it's just that you're essentially running a red light, and that's illegal and you'll be cited.
The first set of cameras was installed in 2003, and more intersections will see this sign posted in the future. The OEMC determines placement of these cameras using accident data and input from traffic engineers and police officers. So if you see this sign, know that you're on the city's candid camera. Hundreds of supporters rallied behind Governor Blagojevich in support of a new bill that would improve Illinois' healthcare system. Illinoisans struggling to pay for their healthcare will soon be smiling for this bold move by the governor if passed. Don Tagala files this report.
Blagojevich, our governor has stood strong. He's willing to take on the fight, and we got to let him know we're going to stand with him, brothers and sisters. Are we with the governor? Are we with his healthcare plan? Are we supporting gross receipts to support it?
Governor Rod Blagojevich's quest to offer health insurance coverage to all Illinoisans recently won the endorsement of a state Senate committee. Illinoisans from various sectors overwhelmingly showed their support for the governor's Illinois is Covered program.
I think that Governor Blagojevich's healthcare plan is amazing, and it's going to bring very needed change to the healthcare system here in Illinois, and hopefully will become a model for other states in the country. I think it's really great. It's going to have a great positive impact on our community where so many people don't have health insurance. We're very excited about it.
This Senate Bill 5 will create 3 tiers of health coverage for all, providing insurance at nominal cost to low-income individuals, offering incentives for businesses to ensure their employees are covered, and implementing low-cost plans with moderate incomes who are not covered by any work insurance. If passed, this bill will also penalize businesses that don't offer insurance.
The governor gets good health care. The lieutenant governor gets good health care. The state senators and the state reps get good health care. But that's not shocking. We make the rules. But if it's okay for us to make the rules to give us good health care, how come we can't give all of you the same kind of health care we give ourselves?
The cost of healthcare is rising dramatically nationwide, leaving more and more people uninsured and forcing many businesses to drop or significantly cut back coverage. The governor's Illinois is Covered is a welcome change for many Illinoisans.
Okay, we came from India, and Indian community, they don't have enough money, and they don't have insurance too. They need insurance and they need help. from America. Thank you very much.
An estimated 1.4 million Illinoisans who do not have health insurance are expected to benefit by this new bill. While the governor's health plan bill is a welcome move for many Illinoisans, some say there aren't enough details available to determine how the program will work for their companies. Don Tagala, AAN News.
Illegal immigrants with B averages in school would be eligible for student loans if the controversial Senate proposal becomes law. Senator Martin Sandoval called for the state to set up a taxpayer-funded student loan fund. Illinois residents could borrow this money for their schooling even if they're not U.S. citizens. The senator's loan program fell one vote short of passage but still has a fighting chance. Under this program, Illinois residents can get $5,000 a year in loans if they have a 3.0 grade point average, lived in the state for at least 3 years, and graduated from an Illinois high school. As the quest for a comprehensive immigration reform continues, religious groups in Chicago were outraged by the anti-immigrant sentiments floating around various websites, forcing religious leaders to come together and stand against the politics of hate. Don Tagala has more.
Maybe it's time for the citizens to make America an undesirable place for these illegal suckers. If they experience fear, they may not come. Somebody has to do something.
This is just one of the messages of hate professional anti-immigrant groups use to intimidate the immigrant communities.
So while we march peacefully and while we pray, and while we go to our legislators and our congresspeople with reason, with the understanding that there's a broken immigration system, with the understanding that as a nation we have to resolve it.
In the advent of this politics of hate campaign, religious leaders in Illinois come together to condemn these threats and intimidations. They are found in many bloggers of unknown origins on the internet.
Simply want to say that hatred must stop. The rhetoric must stop. The division fanned by a long legacy of racism in our country continues to rear its ugly head.
Hatred has no roots to grow because we are no longer strangers. Recently, the Catholic bishops of Indiana issued a pastoral statement entitled, "I was a stranger and you welcomed me, meeting Christ in new neighbors." I quote a paragraph from their pastoral statement. Quote, "As a Catholic community, we vigorously support our nation's right and responsibility to provide secure borders for the protection of our people and to guard against those who would do us harm. At the same time, we reject positions or policies that are anti-immigrant, nativist, ethnocentric, or racist. Such narrow and destructive views are profoundly anti-Catholic and anti-American."
These religious leaders stress the harmful impact hate has on our communities. They say anti-immigrants fuel fear and division instead of seeking humane and common-sense solutions to what they call a badly broken immigration system. The politics of hate appear in many arenas such as blogs, websites, and comment sections of online newspapers. Readers may have to sift through and decide who or what to believe. Don Tagala, AAN News.
Last Friday, Chicago hosted Looptopia, the city's first all-night event of poetry, plays, and music. Our Elaine Lowe takes us there for some of the festivities.
Downtown Chicago was a live Friday night for Looptopia, the all-night artistic and cultural showcase that featured over 100 events of art, film, music, and dancing in the wee hours of Saturday morning.
We're here, we're excited, we're at Looptopia with the Silk Road Theater Project.
The Silk Road Theater Project at 77 West Washington added a bit of Asian American art to the mix with painting, plays, and its very own Bhangra lessons.
We're going to be doing some Indian folk dancing, specifically Punjabi, which is very, very popular nowadays.
Bhangra, a lively Indian dance, is becoming more and more popular these days as artists from Jay-Z to Britney Spears have incorporated the Punjabi dance music into their songs. Changing it up every hour, the Silk Road Theatre project also featured found window painting by Joel Maxime and a stage reading of 365 Days, 365 Plays by Pulitzer Prize winner Susan Laurie Parks, including in its cast co-stars from Silk Road's latest production, Golden Child.
We have week 27, so we have 7 plays that are all like a page long. They're very short. Poetic and experimental. You can do lots.
Just ending their run of the David Henry Hwang play, these stars of Golden Child stopped by Silk Road Theatre again to check out Looptopia.
I really hope and the whole Looptopia experience and it was said tonight that we are community and this is a way for the arts to bring people together.
Is to get people in Chicago to realize Asian American theater, which is so lacking here in Chicago. So it's great that there's this huge crowd down here in the Loop, and to see like Asian Americans on stage acting, performing. And hopefully they'll come back.
From the Loop, Elaine Lowe, AAN News.
Who says Asian American men can't have leading roles? AAN News sat down with Vic Chow, star of the Silk Road Theatre Project's latest production, Golden Child. Elaine Lowe has more on what else is in store for the Chicago native.
Although he's back in town now, actor Vic Chow has come a long way from his hometown of Chicago.
Vic Allen may be at the front door of the apartment. On my way.
The Highland Park native has fought off criminals with Kiefer Sutherland on 24 and has been on TV screens nationwide in shows ranging from Boston Legal to Gilmore Girls.
CC all department heads.
Heather will be back in 5 minutes if you want to wait.
Oh, we'll wait.
Currently living in L.A., Vic has just finished co-starring in an independent film, The Metrosexual.
Metrosexual is an independent film that I did, and I'm excited about it. It is actually my first gay role, so very excited about that just because it's something different. And it's actually written by the writer who, one of the co-writers of Finishing the Game, which is Justin Lin's new independent film.
Most recently, Vic traveled back to Chicago to star in David Henry Hwang's play, Golden Child, at the Silk Road Theatre Project.
It's an amazing story. It's a beautiful story. It was nominated for a Tony on Broadway back in '98, and it is about a businessman, Chinese businessman in 1900s China who returns from the outside, from a business trip, extended business trip, to come home, and he decides he wants to become a modern man.
I've been living among the Christians, remember?
What does that have?
They consider abstinence a great virtue.
As an Asian American male in the acting industry, opportunities for leading roles come few and far between.
I think there's a lot more resistance to casting them in the major leads, and that's something that we really have to work at.
And Vic, like many others, realizes that the only way to put more Asian Americans on screen is to do it himself.
I'm trying to focus more on writing and producing because as blessed as I've been to be an actor for the last 8 years or so, I realize that I can't rely on getting that big break. I think that I don't see myself being cast as a romantic lead unless I'm going to cast it myself, unless I'm going to produce that vehicle myself.
The AAN News, Elaine Lowe.
Hello everyone, this is James Choi. I'm happy to announce that Savia Academy finally came into the Glen. Now you can experience the famed Savia education in the Glenview area. This summer, I will be teaching all high school level courses myself, from algebra to calculus. I will make your children get excited about mathematics. Please do not miss this chance.
Thank you for choosing AAN, your Asian news leader. Please note that AAN will soon air on Monday nights at 7:30. We'll keep you posted on that. Meanwhile, you can catch our rebroadcast Tuesday mornings at 8 and tune in next Monday. Getting tested for AIDS, how open and aware are Asian Americans? If you have any questions about our show or have story ideas, write us at AAN41Chicago@AOL.com. I'm Ingrid Yanada. Thanks for watching.